PP405 may not be the mysterious new hair loss drug we thought it was, because people may have already tried the molecule behind it, and apparently it didn't grow much hair. A newly published World Health Organization document has revealed the compound called suvomipic, and its chemical identity matches JXL069, an experimental hair loss compound that has been known for years. So does this mean JXL069 was PP405 all along? Maybe. But there is one major problem with that conclusion, and it may completely change how you look at PP405. On July 19, 2026, the WHO published its latest proposed list of international non-proprietary names. One of those names was suvomipic. Its CAS registry number is 226069665. Think of a CAS number as a chemical fingerprint, and when you look up JXL069, same number, same molecular formula, same chemical structure. So JXL069 and suvomipic are the same chemical substance. But here is where we need to be very precise. The WHO document does not actually say PP405 equals JXL069. So I would not tell you that the WHO officially confirmed PP405 is JXL069. What I would say is that the evidence now points very strongly in that direction, and the history makes that connection even more interesting. The science behind PP405 came out of UCLA. Researchers including William Lowry, Heather Christoph, and medicinal chemist Michael Jung were studying something very unusual. Not hormones, not blood flow, metabolism. Hair follicle stem cells spend much of their time in a dormant state. Earlier, UCLA research found that these cells rely heavily on glycolytic metabolism and lactate when they become activated. One important control point is the mitochondrial pyruvate carrier, or MPC. Normally, MPC helps move pyruvate into mitochondria. Block that pathway, and more cellular metabolism can shift toward glycolysis and lactate production. In experimental models, increasing this lactate-associated metabolic state helped activate hair follicle stem cells and accelerate the hair cycle. Years later, UCLA researchers published a series of newer MPC inhibitors. One of them was JXL069. Pelagiat then took this same basic biological strategy into human drug development with PP405. And this is important. PP405 is not trying to block DHT, like finasteride. It is trying to wake up follicular stem cells. But then the story gets strange. Long before this new WHO document appeared, members of the hair loss community suspected JXL069 might somehow be related to PP405. Some actually obtained JXL069 and experimented with it. One recent detailed Reddit report is especially interesting. The poster says he obtained JXL069, had the material third-party tested, and used it for 12 weeks. Several other people experimented as well. And according to the poster, nothing meaningful happened. No convincing regrowth. He later experimented with related modified compounds, and again reported no meaningful result. Now, this is Reddit. This is not a clinical trial. There was no proper control group, standardized manufacturing process, blinded evaluation, or validated hair count measurement. But it raises a very reasonable question. If JXL069 really is the molecule behind PP405, shouldn't these people have grown hair? Not necessarily, and this may be the most important part of the entire story. A molecule is only one part of a topical medication. You also need the right concentration, the right vehicle, chemical stability, skin penetration, follicular delivery, and enough residence time for the drug to reach the correct location inside the follicle. Having the same active molecule does not mean you have recreated the same finished medicine. It's a little like having the same engine block and assuming you built the same car. Pelagiat's clinical product is a specifically formulated 0.05% topical gel. and we do not publicly know all the details of that proprietary formulation. For a drug targeting hair follicle stem cells, this could matter enormously. The compound has to get through the scalp and into the follicular environment at the right concentration without simply sitting on the surface or disappearing somewhere you don't want it. So, gray market experiments with a research chemical cannot tell us whether Pelagia's clinical formulation worked. But fortunately, we do have controlled human data. The Phase 2A study enrolled 78 men and women with androgenetic alopecia. Participants received PP405, 0.05% topical gel or vehicle control. The randomized part used once daily treatment for 28 days. Pelage reported that the drug was well tolerated and that PP405 was not detectably absorbed systemically into the blood. And there was an interesting early efficacy signal. At week 8, among men with a higher degree of hair loss, 31% of those treated with PP405 reportedly achieved more than a 20% increase in hair density. The comparable placebo response was zero. At the 2026 American Academy of Dermatology meeting, investigators also discussed increases in active follicular units and terminal hairs, including growth associated with previously inactive follicular units. That is encouraging. But don't call it a cure yet. This was a small Phase 2A study primarily designed around safety and pharmacokinetics. The efficacy analysis was exploratory, and we still need much larger and longer trials. So here's my interpretation. The JXL069 discovery does not prove that PP405 works. And the failed community experiments do not prove that PP405 doesn't work. What they show is that the molecule may only be part of the story. The real test will be larger controlled trials. I want to see placebo-adjusted terminal hair counts, responder rates, results after 6 to 12 months, durability after stopping treatment, results in women, and especially what happens in advanced androgenetic alopecia. If those results are strong, PP405 could become a genuinely important new category of hair loss treatment. Until then, promising, very interesting, but still experimental. And I'm curious what you think. If Phase 3 confirms meaningful terminal hair regrowth from dormant follicles, would you try PP405? Let me know in the comments.